Hello everyone, welcome to Gardening TLC. I am Michelle, welcome to my channel. My channel is all about gardening, and today we are going to talk about great summer containers. We are going to be filling 4 pots today, 2 of them right here out in an island bed in the middle of my parking lot, and 2 in front of the building. Now these are just 4 of the many planters that I'll be planting this season, but today I thought I'd take you through what I do to have totally fabulous containers throughout the whole summer. So come along today as we plant these beauties up. I live in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. We are at my garden center today filling up 4 containers. We'll be doing some more at my house, but I'm actually a garden center owner. I am a retired landscape designer, but I'm a home gardener just like you guys. I've learned a few things about filling pots up in my time of doing that. I do a lot of them out in the community for different customers. I do lots of them here at the store for inspiration and for beauty around the store, and I certainly do plenty of them at my house. So we're going to take you through and do a whole bunch of containers over the next probably, I don't know, 2 months, and we'll show you the different ones that we're doing, and then throughout the summer we will show you how those are progressing. Now usually around the end of July I like you guys to send me pictures of what your stuff is looking like, so you'll have a call out for that as we get further into the season. But let's get started with these 2. That sun is going to come over the top of the building like a freight train and be right in my eyes. I can see it. I probably have about 10 minutes. Okay, so what I think you need to have successful containers is 3 things. 1 is drainage. No matter what kind of container you're doing, I know that there's plenty out there that don't have drainage, but to have really good success, you really do need to have good drainage. You want your containers to drain that water away so that your roots have time to soak up the nutrients, soak up the water without totally sitting in them, getting oversaturated and then rotting out. So I can't even stress the amount of importance I put on this. If you have to drill holes in the bottom of the container, then you need to drill holes in the bottom of the container. I know there are so many cutesy containers out there that are ceramic that don't necessarily have drainage holes in them, but you are planting at your own risk if you don't get the drainage holes in. The next thing I think you need to have to be successful is great potting soil. Great potting soil does not mean the most expensive potting soil in the whole entire creation of potting soil. It basically means that you want to use potting soil, not garden soil, not topsoil, not compost, not soil out of your yard. You want to use a loose, light soil that has perlite and different fillers in it that are going to create air pockets around your roots so that they have room to breathe and grow. But you also want it to be heavy enough that it's going to anchor your plant in so that it doesn't fall over during the first windstorm. Also, you want to make sure that nutrients and water can flow through. Whenever you see those little bitty white things in the dirt or the soil, that is perlite, and those are one of the things that they use to help create the airiness. Is that a word, airiness? Well, anyways, it creates the airiness in the soil so that your roots have room to grow and things can flow through. But at the same time, everything will stay in place long enough for your plant to be able to grow, thrive, and develop. The third thing that you need to do to be really successful is you do need to feed your plants. Think about all of the growing that they're going to do and all of the flowers that they're going to produce and all of that beauty that they're going to create through the whole entire summer. Well, to do that, they need food. And so what are you going to do? You're going to fertilize them. Now, I like to use a slow release fertilizer when I first put the plants in the pot to get them going. This is going to help my roots get developed, get settled, kind of start growing in there, and it's going to have some residual effects later, but for the most part, I only use this once. Now, I suppose you could keep putting that on, but what I find is if I can't work it into the soil, it doesn't work as well, and I never know when it's gone. So throughout the growing season, I like to use Miracle Grow or any kind of water-soluble fertilizer. Here at the store, we fertilize all of the plants every Friday. I have somebody that goes around and feeds all of the container gardens. At home, I try to do it every 7 days, but I'm lucky if I hit it every 10 or 14, which is totally fine too. So you want to feed your plants to make sure that they'll do all those beautiful things that you want them to do, and they're not pooping out by July. All right, that sun roared over the top of the building. Woo, is he in my face right now, but that's okay. Let's talk about what we're going to put in these 2 planters. All right, now they talk about thriller, spiller, filler whenever you're doing a planter. And so I'm going to kind of follow those rules so it'll be easier for you to understand what I'm putting in it. The first one that we're going to put in is an Angelonia. This one here is from Proven Winners. This one's called Angel Face Perfectly Pink. This is going to be my tall piece that I'm going to put in the center. This guy I grew some Angelonia last year. I grew some purple ones in the back urn garden. Oh, I loved them. I thought they were so fabulous. Now, the one thing I did find with them was at first I didn't think they were going to be able to keep up with everything I grew in the garden. So they kind of took on a little bit of a later growth structure for the upright growth that I was looking for. And in the end, they were the perfect size. So I'm hoping that these can keep up with the petunia vistas that I'm going to put in this pot as well. All right, so these guys are going to grow about 14 to 16 inches high. They're going to get those pretty pink spiky flowers on them, and they're going to get about 10 inches wide. All right, and then because I want to do this bed all in pinks, this year what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these little mini vistas. Aren't these great? I love these. This one here is the Mini Vista Pink Star. I just think these are so beautiful. Now, these are pretty small right now. The flowers on this actually will get a little bit bigger on this, but this is a mini vista. Doesn't mean it's not vigorous. It just means the flowers on it are a little bit smaller. I'm going to pair that up with the jazzberry. See, isn't that great? I love the jazzberry. It's so pretty. Now, this one here is one of their colors of the year, and then I'm going to put the two together. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Ah, I hope that these don't get gobbled up by these. Now, I've grown the Vista Jazzberry before. They're not quite as aggressive as a bubblegum, but they're pretty aggressive and they get pretty big. And we're going to actually be putting these in the ground as well. So we're going to match up what's going on over here in the bed with what we put in the pots. Now, we're not going to plant up the garden in the island today. We're just going to do the pots, but I think these two are going to look fabulous together. Now, for my trailer, I'm going to use a Creeping Jenny. And so these came in like a flat, but aren't these great? I'm just gonna let these trail over the sides of the pots and up against the black pot. I think these are gonna look great. This is my trailer this year. Last year I used potato vines. This year it's all about the Creeping Jenny. All right, let's get this planted out. Let's talk about soil and whether or not you should replace it every single year. Now, I do not practice that. A lot of people do. I don't because one, it's expensive to change your dirt out every single year. Two, I'm not going after dirt with a bunch of nutrients in it right away. I'm feeding my plants with fertilizer throughout the season, and that's what I'm using to get them to grow and thrive. Now, I don't necessarily not take care of my soil because what I'm doing at the end of the year is I'm pulling everything out of these big pots, and then there's, like this much soil that needs to be replaced. But what I do is I kind of call up the bottom of the dirt and I mix it in with fresh soil and I'm refreshing the soil, but I'm not completely emptying the whole pot. Now, when I have smaller pots or medium-sized pots, usually by the time I get to the end of the year, the whole thing lifts out in one big root mass because I've done such a great job feeding them that there is no dirt left in the bottom of that pot. And those I do end up starting with fresh dirt every single year. And you'll see when we get to my house that I have empty pots, and most of those, it's because of that. Now, the other thing you can do is you can dump your pots out, cull all of the roots out of there, dump some more dirt with it, mix it up and put it back in your pots. But for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by topping off my pots with some fresh soil, mixing that in, and then I'm going to add a slow release fertilizer like I showed you. Now you'll see that this guy has some cracking. He also has a little bit of broken right here because that's the pots that we get here at the store. We get the ones that come in damaged. And you know what? They make great pots to create inspiration and beauty around the store, so we don't throw them away, we use them. Now, the other thing is when you have a really big pot like this, some people will put fillers in the bottom. So when I'm putting fillers into a pot, which I don't really do, I usually fill mine up with dirt. But if you were gonna do that, I mean, I've heard it all from plastic bottles to shards of pottery to peanuts, packing peanuts. What I tell people is do whatever works for you. But the one thing I will tell you is if you do that, I would lay a piece of landscape fabric between the top of my filler and the dirt because you don't want the roots of your plants, especially in bigger containers, to grow down into that filler area because what happens is those roots grow down there and guess what? They're still growing. They still need water. There's no dirt down there holding moisture and they dry out and that can stress your plant out too. All right, you might look at this and think that there's a lot of space in here, but these are vistas and it is going to fill out. In the middle here, we have two Angelonias. These are the perfectly pink, and one of them has a pretty spike on it right now. The other one's kind of budded up. Again, these are going to get about 10 inches wide and 16 inches tall, so it's going to be a nice centerpiece in here. We have the jazzberry on either side. We made them opposite each other, and then we did the little mini vista pink stars, one in the front see, and then one in the back. And then I did put the 2 creeping jennies right here so that they'll fall down the front of this pot. Believe me, this pot will totally fill out and you will not even see this dirt. I think this one is going to be totally, totally perfect. The very last thing I like to do is gather my tags, and I don't have to put it in both pots. I'm just going to put it in one so that when I totally love this, I will remember what I did, and I'm going to take all of my tags and tuck them in along the side where I know a plant is going to hide them, but I'll still be able to find them later to tell you what I put in them when I can't remember. All right, let's go do the next pot. All right, let's go do the next 2. All right, now that I've got stuff out of the way and we can make these all beautiful. These are brand new containers, and again, they're chipped, so I can't sell them, but we can fill them. So these are called a modern urn. I really like these planters. I actually sell quite a few of them, but these came in damaged, and you can see right here, it's all chipped. And then at the bottom, is it this one? Yep, at the bottom, it's really chipped down there. And you sell them in pairs. So I put the other one over here too, even though there's nothing wrong with it. I'll never sell a single. At least so far, I've never sold a single. So I think we need 2. We're gonna put those 2 together. And as you can see, these already have drainage holes in them, but they're pretty big drainage holes. And I don't want the roots to grow down in there, and I don't want dirt to leak out the bottom. So we're gonna go get a coffee filter and cover up this hole, because that is a great way to keep everything in the pot, but still allow drainage out of the pot. All right, 2 coffee filters. All right, next is fill them up with dirt. This plant is going to get a little bit more shade longer, but it's still going to get hot afternoon sun once the sun clears the building at like 2 o'clock and starts heading that way. So I want something that can handle hot afternoon sun, but do well and play well together. Now I've chosen to do calibrachoas in these, and I'm planting calibrachoas with calibrachoas. I don't try to plant those with petunias because they really do have different watering requirements. Petunias, they want lots and lots and lots of water. Calibrachoas, they want to dry out in between waterings, so they don't always play nice together in the same pot. I don't even try to balance it. I just plant calibrachoas with calibrachoas. Now, let's talk about these calibrachoas and what this beautiful recipe that I made up, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, looks like. All right, we are going to start with Creeping Jenny again. This is kind of what's going to be the filler that ties all of my pots together this year. So you'll see me putting this in pretty much everything. So I am going to use the Creeping Jenny. This one's called Goldie. All right, the first Super Bell I'm going to do is called Grape Punch. Isn't this one great? Look at that dark, dark purple. And it holds this dark purple with that really, really super dark center with the yellow eye. I think this thing is gorgeous. All right, and then I'm going to blend it with this one. Check that out. Isn't that cool? This one is called Holy Smokes. I love those two together. This one also is the same color purple, yellow eye, but it's got the white in there. So I just think that these two growing together in one pot is going to be fabulous. All right, the other things I'm going to put in the pot are Lobularia or Alyssum. This one is from Proven Winners called Snow Princess, and I like it. See, I'm going to pull out the white that's in this Holy Smokes. Isn't that great? This is going to be in the front of the pot. These guys get massive, and they'll fill out, and they'll drape over a little bit, but this is kind of like your filler flower. Absolutely gorgeous. It'll be in the front of the pot. All right, let me grab my calibrachoas again. Okay, remember, we're going to blend these two together. Okay, remember that? Okay, then we are going to be adding a sparkling amethyst superbena. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? See how that kind of ties it all together? We're going to put this in the back of the pot, but what's really cool about the Super Bina from Proven Winners is it doesn't poop out in the heat of the summer. It keeps on going, and it gets really long tendrils on it, so I can weave it through the other ones, and it gives me this really beautiful textural element, and it's going to tie all the colors together, the light purple, the dark purple, and the white. I love this. So this will be in the back of the pot. Aren't the three of those together textural color? Oh, I love it. I love this one. All right, and then my centerpiece is going to be a purple fountain grass. Now here in, well, I'm a hot mess. This actually grows as a perennial in zone 9 through 11. Here in Illinois, it is an annual. But what's beautiful about this is it's gonna fill the center of the pot, get those beautiful kind of weeping purple plumes that come out of it. And when I'm ready to transition to a fall pot, I can leave this in and just plant around it and totally flip this to fall. So let's get planting. I can't wait to see this one all grown up. Oh, it's going to be great. Here are all my tags. Let's get them in the pot and let's talk about where I put everything. All right, we tucked all those back in right there. And if you come around here, you can see that we have the Snow Princess lobularia right here in the middle. It'll fill out this whole area and kind of spill over. We put the Holy Smokes, one here in this corner and one in that corner, and the Great Punch opposite. One here, one there, and these will mingle together. I did put my Creeping Jenny right here, and it'll spill over the sides. My Rub Rums in the middle, and then see, there is my verbena, I can say it, amethyst. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I have trouble with words sometimes. All right, so this is the amethyst. I think that is so gorgeous. All right, that's a verbena or a superbena. So everything's by Proven Winners except for the purple fountain grass, which that's just a kind of just a no-name brand. Aren't these going to be gorgeous when they all grow together? Oh, all right. Now I just got to plant that one up. Garden Gab is coming up. It is always the second Saturday of the month. And remember, we share your pictures with the viewers. So if you have something in your garden right now during the month of April that is absolutely fabulous, make sure you share that with us. Send it in landscape style. One picture of something gorgeous in your garden right now. I would love to see what you've got going on. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'm Michelle. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.